Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Looking at the NBA here on Tuesday. 4 games, a big come down after 12 games on Monday, and a whole bunch of action as I had 16 bets down on the card. Winning day for sure. Not the best winning day, but you'll always take plus money for sure, no matter what, when you're betting out here in the NBA, especially in March. So I'm going to run through about 6 looks that I have on a very broken slate right now with just 4 games. 3 teams on the back-to-back here on the night as well. So we're going to be waiting on a ton of injury news. That's why we've got the live show at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. But go ahead and give this video a like, and let's go ahead and jump right into everything we've got here for Tuesday. 8-8, 16 bets on the card there, but plus 0.2 units because the end of the day did not pan out for us. We're still up 46 units on the season, climbing now 3 straight winning days, so we're going to keep it going after a rough 8-day stretch. Looking at the bets from top down, starting with Jalen Wells. Loved the rebounds for him once everybody was ruled out for Memphis, so we got that bet in after the live show. I might have gotten talked about it on the live show, can't remember now, but he got 4 rebounds in the first 6 minutes of action, which was great because he ended up leaving the game for a bit. So love the boards there for him. Love the boards for Jalen Green. We had Amin Thompson out, and I don't think the books had accounted for the fact that there were going to be a lot more rebounds available for guards and other guys in general on the Rockets. Plus, you had Jalen Green guarding Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So whenever you're betting rebounds, you have to know who the one-on-one matchup is because that's going to help dictate where a guy is standing on the court. And for a guy like Jalen Green guarding KCP, that made it really easy for him to just sort of play off of a guy that took 0 shots in that game and put him in position to get the rebounds as he's standing sort of below the break, near the baseline, in really good rebounding position. So we love the boards for plus money for him. Same for Orlando Robinson. Centers versus the Wizards, man. It's just that simple. They don't have a center right now. Rashawn Holmes didn't even play in that game. And as good as Alex Sarr is at some things, he's still a rook and not quite a defensive or good rebounding center just yet. So we also loved Orlando Robinson for the double-double. Hit that on better than 4-1. So loved that everybody here in the VIP cashed as we got that in nice and early. And then Luka assist was a gift. I could not believe we got 8.5 with no LeBron out there. Maybe they thought he wasn't really going to play minutes. I don't really know what the read was from the books, giving us 8.5 assists for even money, or whomever was pushing that down. But many thanks as we hit that for even money. He cashed that pretty quickly. And then Jaylen Brown always makes us sweat a little bit. Like in the first half, he only had 2 boards, but Jaylen Brown rebounds when Jason Tatum and KP and Al Horford are out. And you know he's going to be doing a lot of work out there. Yeah, the points are going to be a good look, but they're not for Jaylen Brown quite as much with Tatum out. He actually goes up in the assists and the rebounds. Loved getting the boards there for him near even money. And then LaMelo made us sweat as well, but ended with 10 assists against the Heat. Always a good look to go over on the assists, not necessarily the points, against a Miami Heat defense for a primary ball handling guard like LaMelo. And then Matas Buzelis on the Chicago Bulls was a easy, sweatless cash there for the under, as we had a bunch of guys coming back into the rotation. They were near full with Vooch and Pat Williams and Giddey and everybody back for them. So it was a nice under for Matas, who had been seeing an uptick in usage, and that went right back down here in this game. And now to the losses. Onyeka Okongwu, I guess he's a stay away because he had like a 10-5 at the half, ended with like 15-5 or whatever. It's like didn't come close on the boards against the just undermanned Philly team that wasn't even playing Andre Drummond. So no respect for Onyeka. He got plenty of minutes. I've never really loved playing him, but it was such a sweet spot. And he came out with like 4 boards and 4 points in the first quarter and couldn't really pick it up after that. Bub Carrington, 7 potential assists to get 5 in this game here against the Raptors, who give up like the 10th fewest assists per game to point guards. 5 potential assists, or 5 assists on 7 potentials, is not something that you bank on happening very often. I'll continue to go under, and we'll be talking about that in this one. Especially we got plus money here for an under on a guy who doesn't even average that on the season. Such luck at the end of that game, but we'll move on. Because the other thing was he got taken out right after he got that assist. That was brutal. Justin Edwards, just not involved. Quentin Grimes and Lonnie Walker just took like 90% of the shots combined. I mean, most of the shots for those guys. So not really much to bet on for Philly here. It looks like Quentin Grimes is just going to take them all the way down the stretch, shooting the ball 25 times. So maybe we look at his stuff. But Austin Reeves, is he just bad? I mean, whenever I bet on Austin Reeves, he does poorly. I see his stats, and it was a good spot for him. Obviously, without LeBron, a team he had scored 38 on before, a team that doesn't do well against the spot up, the Nets. That's who they played. They lost right in that game, I believe. I have to go back and check. Whatever. I was too frustrated with Austin Reeves. I know it was like a close game. I believe the Nets pulled it out. Whatever. Austin Reeves, 22.5 points. If he goes 2 of 16 from the field, not much I can do about that with Austin Reeves if he's just going to miss every single shot. I love the bet when Luka was ruled in. I loved him to be playing off ball and get that catch and shoot stuff, which is what Brooklyn gives up. but he didn't hit them. So he got the shots. It was a great look. It didn't hit. That's all we have for that one. Anthony Simons is on one right now. It's a good look to go under for him against teams like the Dubs, who are very good at limiting the pick and roll ball handler. They're good at limiting the primary ball handler in their scoring. But he just went off, and they did not do a good job of hedging on screens. So Anthony Simons is not going to be a guy I'm looking to fade very often right now, as he's just sort of unconscious, and we'll wait for him to come back to earth if we ever want to bet an under on him. Cat gets us with the hook, 26.5 points, rough go there. And then Josh Hart opened the game with like 7 rebounds and assists between the first like 15 minutes. And then got 2 more the rest of the game. Ended with 6 and 3. It was a blowout. So the Knicks really just handled business against this Kings team. And that really did us in on a couple of the props here. I thought it was going to be close. We had Malik Monk back, but we had a pretty good game on our hands, I thought. And then it just turned ugly pretty quick after the first quarter. And then Najee had a bunch of potentials, and he had the touches, and he was in the game down the stretch, most of the usage. Spencer Dinwiddie had a good game, so that did us in a bit, but Najee should have still gotten those assists. I'm going to be looking at the potentials here, and I'll be getting back to you on the VIP on that. But either way, 8 and 8, we'll take plus 0.2 units because we'll take not losing money. We had enough plus money bets in here to really help overcome the VIG right there on some of those negative bets. So really feeling good about that. But let's go ahead and jump into everything I've got here for Tuesday's slate. As always, I'm going to be using Props Madness here on the show, the #1 sports betting research tool for hoops, all things you need in one-stop shop for sure. So if you do want to get in on Props Madness, use code LYB when you sign up. You can get 7 free days to test it out for yourself and see if you like it. You'll also get 25% off for your first month if you do use this. But feel free to jump in the comments too and give me any questions that you might have on this thing. I am going to be using this on the live show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern as well. So you can make sure that you come in, get you jump in the comments, bring me your bets, and we'll go over that stuff together. As we've only got 4 games, I'm going to have Jedi Modai on the show with me today. So really looking forward to having a guest out there to help out. Let's go ahead and jump into this Props Madness and kick it off with this Wizards and Pistons game. And like I said, I'm going right back to that look. I mean, this should be a complete beatdown by the Pistons against this Wizards team if they're taking this game at all seriously, serious at all. But we're going to have a couple guys back here. For the Wizards, we're going to have Chris Middleton back, I believe. We're still waiting on the injury news officially because the Wizards are on the second night of the back-to-back. But we're probably going to get Chris Middleton back. We might be getting Marcus Smart back and Richaun Holmes. So there's a lot more guys out there. I'm going back to the under on Bub Carrington, and I don't care what the juice is on 4.5 assists. I'll go up -130 is available in a couple spots. I'll hit -135. I'm going under on Bub Carrington dimes. There's no way he should have gotten that. Like I was mentioning a minute ago, if you hover over the last game, he played 26 minutes. He had 7 potentials and 5 dimes. And a big part of this was that Jordan Poole got taken out and didn't play very many minutes once this game got out of control. Then it was the Bub Carrington show. But this is a Detroit team that gives up very, very few assists. They are 6th best limiting assists on the season. They are #1 limiting assists to the position that Bub Carrington is playing here, with just guard in general. But the player type that the Props Madness has Bub Carrington listed as, this is the #1 defense limiting assists against his player type. So I'm going to believe on that again. If you look at him with Jordan Poole out there, and again, Jordan Poole played slightly fewer minutes, but on the season, under in 7 of 19 games. Actually, it's more than that. It's under in 10 with Jordan Poole, under in, let's see, keep this going, all the games they played together. They played 53 games. He's gone under in most of them, only over in 18. What is that? 38 of 53 that he's gone under, averaging 3.9. And now you want him to get 5 against one of the best assist defenses in the league. Like I said, I'm drinking the juice. I'm taking this at -135 under assists for Bub Carrington. Going to wait on the rest of the injury news there for the Wizards and Pistons, but I am going to come down here to the Nets and the Cavs. And the first thing I'm looking at here is Evan Mobley. And I'm looking at his boards, which we just faded against the Bucks there, which is always a great matchup under for Evan Mobley against the Bucks because he's guarding Brook Lopez. So he gets pulled out to the 3-point line. Again, when you're doing rebounding props, most of what matters is who is this person guarding, and obviously how good is the opponent at rebounding and limiting rebounds. But you see he went under here, and now we're getting him at 8.5 when he was listed at 9 and 10.5 even in some spots against the Bucks, which is a much better rebounding team overall down low against centers especially than the Nets are. And now he's coming up against a Nets team that he has a good history. If you look at him head to head against this team, he had 21 rebound chances for 13 boards in 30 minutes in their 13-point win here right when they came back from the All-Star break. Then this game here, he played 23 minutes, still had 9 rebound chances in 23 minutes, and they won by 29. And again, the key thing here is who is he guarding? And he has been guarding in these games right here, the first and the third game, he's mostly guarding either Nick Claxton or Cam Johnson or Day'Ron Sharpe, the backup center, when he comes out there for the Nets. In this game right here, he was guarding mostly, I want to make sure I get this right, in those games, he actually guarded Ben Simmons. So that was pulling him away from the basket at times. Although Simmons is crashing the boards, Evan Mobley had to really focus on where Simmons is on the court because he's just always moving rather than being able to just sort of lock in on a guy like Claxton, who's already standing next to the basket waiting for the rebounds, or a guy like Cam Johnson, who, yes, he's playing out on the three-point line, but he's a little bit below the break because he's playing with like guys like Cam Thomas, right? So as a result, you see Evan Mobley guarding either a little bit of Cam Johnson, but mostly either Claxton or Day'Ron Sharpe, guys that are not going out to the three-point line because they can't shoot from out there. So they're playing close to the basket. So in these first and third games here, the matchups were right. And obviously there's no Ben Simmons now. So there's no way he's guarding Simmons. Anybody that he's guarding for the Nets in this game is going to be a good matchup for rebounds because of where they're standing on the court and how involved or not involved they are in the offense. Like Day'Ron Sharpe's not really a focal point of the offense. It's mostly just Cam Thomas trying to take his guy to the basket and score. And then guys like Evan Mobley, who are playing off ball on defense, can really focus on just boxing out their guy and going up for the rebound. So love Mobley to come back. Really good matchup for power forwards against the Nets, who don't really have a power forward. They might run some too big offenses, but Cam Johnson's not a legit power forward and certainly not a good enough rebounder to hang with Evan Mobley. So love Mobley on the boards. Don't mind him on the points. You can see he's had really good hit rate here against this team this season on the points as well. So if you want to make it points or points and rebounds, I'm good with it. I think this is going to be a blowout for the Cavs on the second night here of a back-to-back for the Nets, and the Cavs are totally rested. This is a team that they should handle. They won by 13, 29, and 5 in the first game when this was a different team, but 29 and 13 in their last two. I think they're going to handle business. So the points scare me a bit more, but I love over 8.5 rebounds for Evan Mobley in this game. The other guy I'm looking for is going to be Ty Jerome, at least on the Cavs. I got a bet here on a Nets player as well. But the Cavs, I like Ty Jerome, and I'm looking at the assists. This is 3.5 plus 140. I might just do like drink the juice on the 2.5 if we can get this down, even minus 160 to the over. He's averaging 3 on the season. I expect them to win by a good amount. If you look at the head-to-head here, he's had some good games. Mostly you look at the potentials. 5 potentials to get 5 in the first game. That's in 18 minutes. Next game, 9 potentials for 6. That's in 16 minutes. Third game here, 7 potentials to get 3 dimes, 17 minutes. Well, he's not playing 17 minutes anymore. You can see in these last bunch of games. I mean, this is, the last bunch. He has played 18, 17 here, but really 23, 24 in games that are a little bit further away and blowouts, right? Like this game, it was really close. He still had 6 potentials against the Bucks, who are a very good assist defense, as opposed to the Nets, who are middle of the pack assists allowed. But the potentials are there, 5, 6, 5, and that's all in like anywhere from 18 to 23 minutes. But I think we're going to see his minutes go up a ton in this game. By a ton, I mean, I think we'll see him at 24. So if you give him at least 24 minutes, and let's put him at about 22 to 26 minutes tonight, because I think in the blowout, you're going to see him play a few more minutes. So 22 to 26, over and a half these games, averaging 3 per game. But I think we're going to see, if you look at the games that they're winning by a bunch, and the spread is like really high at this point, I'm sure, for the Nets game. If you look at the games right where they win by 10, goes up a little bit, nicer hit rate. If you look at the games where they win by like 13 plus, it goes up, right? So the more they blow a team out by, as you can change this filter here to the games that they've won by more points, the more that they win by, the more that his assists continue to go up and his hit rate gets better because he's on the court more. And now we don't have Karis LeVert around. So we've got Ty Jerome as the main ball handler, the main focal point of the second unit, and he's going to be able to just choose what he wants to do. And against the Nets, if you scroll down here against assists, you can see where they're giving up their assists. 41% of his assists are coming at the rim. They are 5th worst, limiting assists at the rim. The other thing you look at here, if you look at the play type analysis against this team, right, they are number 1 limiting points to the spot up, to the pick and roll ball handler, but they are 3rd worst limiting points to the spot up shooter. So Ty Jerome, if he's on ball and acting as the point guard when he's out there without Darius Garland, without Donnie Mitchell, because they're getting some rest in this matchup, then you're going to see Ty Jerome as the primary ball handler, which means points are a little bit harder, but the assists are good because he's passing to those guys who are waiting on the spot up to catch and shoot or catch and drive. So I love the points are good for sure. 11.5 against a not very good defense, but the assists at plus money, I can't pass that up. Even if you play this for like 0.7 units, right? 3/4 of a unit to get back a full unit rather than just put a full one on it. I could see a number of ways to play this, but I'm going to be eyeing the assists here for Ty Jerome, something we'll talk about on the live show today. I'm going to bring up Cam Johnson points. That's my Nets bet here, because catch and shoot guys against the Cavs also do pretty well. You can see they are 21st limiting spot up. And although that's not terrible, it's not good. It's bottom 10, right? But everywhere else, they're much better. So this is the type of player that you take against the against the Cavs to score. And you can see head to head, he's had some pretty good success this season against the Cavs, regardless of them getting blown out. He's playing 28 to 31 minutes. He took 11 shots, some nice open looks here, as again, Evan Mobley doesn't really want to come all the way out there when he's the one guarding Cam Johnson, when that's the case. And so he is going to be a little bit more open from 3, 4 for 7, 3 for 6, and then 3 for 6 from deep. So if the threes are at 2.5 still, 2.5 or plus money against the Cavs, this might be the way to play it too. I didn't even realize the threes had come up yet on the props. So 2.5 or plus money is a good look as well. You're gonna have to choose between the two or just take both, but 16.5 gives us a nice edge. He's averaging 19 on the season. And when he plays with D'Angelo Russell, who should be available in this game, somebody to set him up to get a few more points. So looking at a Cam Johnson over here, if we can still get it 16.5, I want to see a little bit more about what comes out here on the injury report for the Nets once we see who's actually playing for them. Skipping over this Bucks and Pacers game for just a minute. That'll be something I come back to on the live show, but go ahead and give this video a like if you would. It goes a super long way to support the channel and everything, so much appreciated there. And I've got a bet here that I'm going to be looking at for the Pelicans and the Clippers. And the Clippers are in New Orleans. I'm going to be taking a CJ McCollum under here in this one. For CJ, we've got to go to the PRA again. Against this Clippers defense, we might be able to see this bump up to 25.5. You see a book like Pinnacle at -131. That could cause this to bump up to 25.5, and it's already there on DraftKings. And that's when I'm going under for CJ's PRA. You can look here at the last bunch of games. I want to show you what's happened since he's playing with Zion, and if he plays with Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown. And right, Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown have been there the same amount of time, coming over from the Raptors, so they play together here. And when you just take the both of them on the court against CJ, you can see in these, what do we got here? 7 games, he's gone over twice. That was against the Jazz, awful, and against the Mavericks. Probably worse right now on defense with the players that they have to throw out there. And then the other games here are against another awful defense against the Spurs. The Lakers are good and the Rockets are good on defense. And he went under on all 3 of these. And I would argue that this one against the Rockets, the rebounds helped him for sure. But the other thing here against the Rockets is like they weren't even fully manned. Amin Thompson ended up getting hurt in that game. That was the guy that was guarding CJ McCollum one-on-one. So I loved him under in this one. You see he only had 17 PRA in the first game against the Rockets because Amin Thompson was guarding him. Second game, Amin Thompson goes down, so he's not guarding him for much of the game, and now CJ has a much, much better game. Now he's going up against the Clippers, which means he's going to be guarded by Chris Dunn, is going to be his main defender. And Chris Dunn is going to also be taking CJ out of the game. Plus, he's just not involved, man. Like, they don't need him to do as much. They're not trying to win. He's really just like a $40 million contract on their books right now that's really not providing much because they're not going anywhere. So you look at the points alone, great under. The assists, really good under, because all this green right here is actually helping us get a better number. He only had he had double-digit assists in one of these games. Everything else was 4 potentials, 7 potentials, 6 potentials, and 5 potentials. To 6 potentials to get 4 assists, and this might go up to 4.5. I can't wait. Like, this is going to be a great under for us. If you want to leave the rebounds out of it because he randomly got lucky, like in this Rockets game, to just trip and fall into 5 boards, okay, like leave the rebounds out and just go under on the points and assists at like 21.5. Fine with that under as well. I'm going to bundle it all together and go under 25.5 when we get that number available on CJ McCollum's PRA. All right, hope to see y'all on the live show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Reminder, we got Jedi Modai coming on to share some of his plays. Plus, we'll be looking at the bets that you guys want to go over together as I share my screen with Props Madness, and we look at that stuff together. You throw your bets in the comments, and I'll help y'all out with that. So hope to see y'all there, and until I do, happy betting.